Hello again, I'm Kevin Cullen and welcome to another business development update. Today is July 17th, 2017, and the subject is Fix the Phones 101. I'm going to look at four specific areas. First, some interesting information about trends in mobile shopping activity. We'll look at why calls fail, to also take a look at a few sample reports, and wrap it up with some takeaways from the recent and the upcoming Fix the Phones workshops. So mobile shopping activity has increased phone calls to dealerships. A couple of demos here. You can see that there's been a 12.3% year-over-year increase in phone calls to dealerships. Additionally, 54% of auto searches happen on a mobile device. 90% of mobile users conducted a dealer-related action. And there's a 4 to 1 ratio of phone calls to email lead forms. And this presents us with a huge opportunity. In the Northeast region in June 2017, there were 383,621 tracked phone calls. Within those phone calls, there was a 12.9% fail rate. Total of 49,497 failed calls. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. What is a failed call and what is failed call rate? Some estimations in the sales area. Every 10 calls represents one sales opportunity. So in this case, there was approximately 5,800 lost sales opportunities in the Northeast region. On the service side, the projection is that there are, within 10 contacts, there are 4 service opportunities. And in this case, that represents 23,000 lost service and parts opportunities in the Northeast region. Okay, so why do calls fail? Well, there are 4 specific reasons. First, the ring transfer abandoned, calls that were not answered by the destination phone number. Secondly, the IVR voicemail abandoned, call reached the IVR or voicemail, and the caller hung up without leaving a message or speaking to an agent. Third, hold time abandoned, the call was answered, call was transferred by IVR agent, but caller hung up prior to speaking to an agent. And then finally, unanswered, call was put on hold by IVR agent, but hung up before the agent came back online. There is some data available on call fail rate and total failed calls. Just contact me and I can set it up and provide you with a nice overview. Here's some fictional data. It takes a look at a dealership, the total calls, total failed calls, that call fail rate, and then the number of each of the 4 types of failed calls. And in the report, we can give you a nice visual in a pie chart to see specifically how that's proportioned out. Additionally, we can provide a comparison. Again, the data is available from January 1st to June 30th, 2017. We can do a nice comparison between your dealership, your district, your zone, and the Northeast region. And again, we can provide that linear comparison too. Here's a report that you'll see at the workshop. You have seen already if you've attended, and you will see if you go to future ones. It's a lost opportunities report. This is a screenshot. It's not yet available. It's makeshift, and it will go through several improvements. But I thought I'd show you what's forthcoming, probably in the fall of 2017. So a couple of features. If you look across the top, you can see the failed call volume. You can, for whatever time frame it is, the failed call rate during that time frame you determine, and eventually it'll be a failed call impact. There'll be a formula to give us a general estimation of what dollars perhaps were lost. Additionally, you'll see a graph that shows day by day the failed call volume. This is an interesting one. This is the snapshot that the folks at the recent Edison, New Jersey workshop saw. It was through the end of April, I believe. Yeah, end of April. Additionally, they can average that out again depending on the time frame that you filtered. And then you can see day-to-day performance, the average, which are your better days and which are your worst days in terms of number of calls, and then again, that percentage. They sort the data further. They can tell by hour during whatever time frame, month of June, year to date, whatever the case is, which times of days are your strengths and vulnerabilities. And they'll also break out, as I did earlier, the failed call types. Okay, let's wrap it up with some Fix the Phone workshop takeaways. We've, in the Northeast region, had a completed workshop this past week in Edison, New Jersey from the 11th to the 12th of July. Many of you were there. There are a couple of opportunities I'll call local, as in the Northeast region. You can go to the www.gmskillsworkshops.com to see nationwide which workshops are available. But there's one coming up in Syracuse in mid-August and one coming up in Baltimore in mid-October. Again, please go to that website. I'd strongly encourage you, managers and business development representatives, to get in and attend these workshops. Very valuable stuff. This is a look at each of the sessions. The workshops are 2 days, and each morning there's a leadership session, and in the afternoon there's a more hands-on phone skills session. So in the case of New Jersey, Tuesday we had the morning session, afternoon phone skills, next day, Wednesday, duplicate of each. And you can see the structure of each of those sessions. So here, it was a lot of stuff. We had some really dynamic presenters. A few vendors were in there from various companies, Call Review, Marchex, Proactive Dealer Solutions. We had representatives from General Motors were in there. It was, again, pretty exciting stuff. But here's just some sampling of the things that you get. When you're on the phone, make it a positive first impression. Every greeting should include, and you can see the list of items. Some of you may have heard this or seen this before, but it does warrant a really strong reminder to make sure we're on our best game with each and every phone contact. I found this particularly interesting. Statistics show, if you look, the point is that we need to offer the appointment once we make contact with the person. So the metric to the left is the average appointment ask rate by salesperson. So 64% of the time, no appointment was offered when they made contact with a customer. 36% of the time they were offered. Shifting to the right, once we do ask for that appointment, you'll see that 58% of the time appointments are scheduled. So over half the time you're likely to get an appointment if you ask for it. Set the appointment when they do answer. And the presenters gave great examples of how folks hemmed and hawed even when the customer hinted around to wanting to nail down a date and time. They came up with a takeaway of 5 things to do now. And I really encourage you to take a look at this. Review your call routing and match the customer expectation. Where are the calls going? Evaluate your IVRs. How are they being routed? Are you losing calls on transfer? Maybe ring multiple numbers, or, there's several solutions to that. If we're losing calls early in the morning, at lunch, and at the end of the day, maybe we need to shift staffing or come up with an alternative. And those long hold times are brutal. Can we send those calls to the BDC? Here's you'll get a handout. You probably already have this, but how to access your calls that are generated by your website. Shows the log, and it gives a lot of valuable information of the resources available to you in that. Also, you'll get a copy of the IMR Turnkey Vendor List. Again, you probably already have access to this, but just in case in Global Connect, you can find this in case you are looking for solutions. And there's the fixthephones.com website. Plenty of free opportunities there, free resources, the free instructor-led webinars, phone skills training, etc., etc. Awesome stuff. Okay, that's it. We looked at 4 areas today in this Fix the Phones 101 video. First, we started with some interesting information about mobile shopping activity. We looked at why calls fail. We looked at some sample reports, and finally highlights from the recent and upcoming Fix the Phones workshops. As always, I want to leave you with a deep quote. This one is from Mr. Mike Overy from Proactive Dealer Solutions. Had the privilege of spending time with Mike this last week. A dynamic guy, has a lot of great ideas. And he made a great point. The difference between a good business development process and a great business development process is the acceptance of the end result. This is really a leadership action. Are we tracking? Are we monitoring? And are we taking action to get our folks to step up to a higher level of performance? If you have any questions or need additional support, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm Kevin Cullen, the Chevrolet Zone 4114 Business Development Manager. There's my email, and there's my phone number. Please don't hesitate to contact me if I can provide some of that data or be of support. Thank you once again for participating. Go Chevrolet, and God bless America.